today's video. This is a B1 level intermediate ESL lesson. Today we're going to be reviewing the phrase used to in both the positive and the negative, and also learning the time phrases anymore, any longer, and still. So what can you say about each of these families? And can you guess the relationships between the people in the images? So this looks like maybe a mother and father and their two children. This looks like maybe a grandfather playing with his grandchildren. And this looks like several generations, maybe the grandparents, the parents, and the grandchildren here. So Isla, Kader, and Sally talk about their childhood. So Isla says, I'm the middle child of three. We are close in age, so when we were young, we used to hang out a lot. Salih says, I used to be close to my brother Ekram, but we've grown apart over the years. We only speak once or twice a year, and we get together only at Ramadan. And Kader says, I was adopted. I don't know my biological parents, but for me, the people who raised me are my real parents. So answer these questions about your childhood. So in some cultures, it's common for three generations, so grandparents, parents, and children, to live together. Did you grow up in the same house as your parents and grandparents? And who do you take after? That's an expression meaning, do you look or act like one of your parents? And if you'd like to generate some conversation, go ahead and answer those questions in the comments. All right, we're going to listen to Sandra talk about her siblings, and you'll be listening for the answers to these questions. How many siblings does she have? What are their names? And in which order were they born?
I have one brother whose name is Mark, and twin sisters, Carrie and Fiona. I'm the oldest. Mark is in the middle, and Carrie and Fiona are the youngest.
Great, so Sandra has three siblings. She has a brother named Mark and twin sisters named Carrie and Fiona. So the order that they were born, Sandra was born first, then Mark, then Carrie and Fiona. All right, so we're going to listen to a longer part of Sandra's story, and then you'll answer whether these questions are true or false.
I have one brother whose name is Mark, and twin sisters, Carrie and Fiona. I'm the oldest. Mark is in the middle, and Carrie and Fiona are the youngest. During our childhood, we lived in a small house. Mark had his own room, but I used to share a bedroom with my younger sisters. We lived in the countryside, and we used to have to go to school on the bus every day. On weekends and during the school holidays, we ended up spending a lot of time together.
Right, so Sandra's parents had four children. That's correct. It was Sandra, Mark, Carrie, and Fiona. During her childhood, Sandra lived in a large house. That was false. It was a small house. The twins used to share a bedroom. That's true. Sandra and Mark had their own bedrooms. That's false. Mark had his own bedroom, but Sandra had to share with the twins. They used to take a bus to school every day. That's true. And they used to spend a lot of time together on weekends. That's true. All right, so used to. Used to describe states and habits in the past. It is not used for situations that are now true. So here are examples of used to showing a state and habit in the past that are no longer true. I used to play football every week, but these days I don't play at all. I used to feel sad all the time, but these days I am a much happier person. When we talk about past situations, we use a mixture of used to and the past simple. Don't use used to for every verb. So, and if you use an expression of time that shows a long period in the past, it's usual to use the past simple. So during our childhood, we lived in a small house. Mark had his own room, but I used to share a bedroom with my younger sisters. Here's other useful information about used to. There are two different ways to express the negative. We can use didn't used to or never used to. I never used to eat vegetables. I didn't used to like going to swimming lessons at 6 a.m. Didn't used to is avoided by many speakers because it is a very long form and can sound awkward. You can use the past simple with a past time phrase or adverbs of frequency to also to express used to. When I was a child, our family took vacations regularly in France. We always had to exercise on the weekend. I almost never ate sugary foods back then, and he didn't ever talk much in class. All right, so you're going to listen and complete the text using the verb in the correct tense. And then we'll talk about the use of the tenses and why Sandra uses each particular tense.
Carrie and I both take after our mom, and we were very close when we were growing up. We used to spend a lot of time outside, perhaps because there wasn't much space in the house. In the summer, we used to play near the river or go camping. In the winter, we stayed inside and played board games, although our favorite pastime was building snowmen.
Okay, so here she uses the simple present. Carrie and I both take after our mom because that is something that is still true. Um, and we were very close when we were growing up. This is past continuous because she's talking about a repeated time period. We used to spend a lot of time outside, so she uses used to there because it's something that was true in the past, but it's no longer true. And here, in the summer, we used to play near the river. Um, so here, it's a longer time period. She could have also used we played, um, but again, it's something that is no longer true. And then in the winter, we stayed inside. Here, she used this just simple past because she's talking about a longer time period. But she could have also used we used to stay inside, and both of those would have been correct. But just for variety, I think it's good. They said don't use used to for every verb. All right, so here are a few more things to know when expressing habits. Look at how we use any more or any longer with the present tense to show that a past habit or state does not continue now. For example, I used to play many sports. However, I don't exercise anymore. She was a wonderful artist in her 20s, but she doesn't paint any longer. If a habit or a state continues from the past until now, we use still. Karen and Alfie stopped talking 10 years ago and they still don't speak, and he still goes surfing every weekend. Used to is for situations and states that are true for a long period, and compare these sentences below. So, we used to go swimming every summer vacation, but we used to go swimming last week. This is incorrect because last week is not a long period of time. Here we would just use a simple past. We went swimming last week. All right, so then Sandra moves from the past to the present. It says listen once and quickly write down the main points. Which tenses does she use? What does she talk about in the past? And what does she mention in the present?
When I was 18, I left home to go to university. Carrie and I used to keep in touch every day, but we started to grow apart. I was busy with my new life at university, and she started hanging out with her friends from school. When she turned 18, we grew closer again, since we had more in common. Now I'm 32, Carrie is 28, and our lives are completely different. To start with, we live in different countries. On top of that, I'm still single, but she is married with 2 children. We are very close, though. We text each other almost every day, and we try to get together as often as possible.
All right, so she used past simple, turned, grew, had, and present simple. Am is are. Um, she talked about their time at university in the past, and then she also talked about how their relationship is today. All right, so we're going to listen again. Well, go ahead and see if you can fill in the blanks on your own before listening, and then restart, and we'll fill in the blanks to check your answers.
When I was 18, I left home to go to university. Carrie and I used to keep in touch every day, but we started to grow apart. I was busy with my new life at university, and she started hanging out with her friends from school. When she turned 18, we grew closer again, since we had more in common. Now I'm 32, Carrie is 28, and our lives are completely different. To start with, we live in different countries. On top of that, I'm still single, but she is married with 2 children. We are very close, though. We text each other almost every day, and we try to get together as often as possible.
All right, now we're going to look at Aiden and Riley. So see if you can complete these using the best tense with these verbs. And then you can restart the video when you're ready to check your answers. So I have a very close relationship with my mom. She raised me on her own, and we used to spend a lot of time together when I was growing up. You could also use spent. Now that I'm at university, we don't see as much of each other as we did before, but we still get together at least twice a week, and we text all the time. My nephew Roy was adopted. After my brother got married, he and his wife discovered that they couldn't have children, so they decided to adopt. I never really got to know Roy very well, but perhaps he was lonely when he was growing up. He is now married with 5 children. All right, now the word verbs in bold are in the wrong tense, so take a few moments. You can pause the video, see if you can correct these, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so it should be my grandmother lived with us during my childhood. My parents worked long hours for the past. We both like puzzles, and we used to do a lot of jigsaw puzzles and crosswords together. So I am 2 years older than my brother Tony, and we did everything together when we were children. We used to hang out at the beach every day after school, and we used to fight all the time. All right, now read Casper's memories about his Auntie Erica and then match each phrase with the correct definition. You can pause the video and try this on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so when I was a child, she was a fabulous cook. Those are both states that finished in the past. So when I was a child, she was a fabulous cook. A habit that finished in the past would be my mother used to work full time. My mother had to work full time. Uh, and then I used to spend a lot of time with my Auntie Erica, and we used to make a lot of chocolate chip or cookies or vanilla cupcakes. A present state would be letter E. She doesn't have any children. I am her only nephew. I have some wonderful childhood memories, and she lives alone. And then a present habit would be letter K. I visit her as often as possible. And a habit that started in the past and continues to the present is she still enjoys cooking today. She still loves cooking today. All right, so now write answers to the questions and think about the duration of the state or habit. You want to think about a family member who is special to you and answer these questions. Who is the person and what is your relationship? What did you used to do with that person? What did that person like doing many years ago? What does that person like doing these days? And how often did you see that person? And do you still see them today? All right, so now you can either practice speaking aloud, or if you would like to type your answer in the comments to share with us about your family member. Um, Try to talk about the person using a variety of verb tenses. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.